Alrighty ladies, today we have a 2003 and a half Mazda Speed Protege. We went on YouTube, checked through the forums, and they have no instructional videos nor comments that really help you out with redoing your rear brake pads. Now, first things first, you obviously want to remove your wheel. So if you're like this, all you do is that. Now if you look at your rear brake assembly, on the top here, you're going to have a 12mm bolt. You want to knock that loose first, but in order to get the full swivel out of your brake caliper, we're going to have to undo the clip that holds the emergency brake. Now let's go ahead and get this fucker started. So we'll go ahead and begin removing this 12mm nut, well, bolt, on the top of the Protege. So just keep going. Ratcheting wrenches will save you time and money. So if you don't have a set of these bad boys, you might as well just quit while you're ahead. So we'll go ahead and remove the first bolt. Now, if you look at the caliper assembly, you're going to notice that once you try to actually pivot it, it's knocking, the emergency brake line is knocking with the rear shock. So, number one thing to do is we're going to go ahead and remove this click of the e-brake and just remove the e-brake line out of the way. Now, in order to do so, we'll go ahead and get a flathead screwdriver, pry the clip out, and remove the e-brake line. This is the e-brake line right here, completely out of the way. Now what we'll go ahead and do is we'll swivel out the brake caliper, and that should give us enough room to remove the pads. Now if you take a look at these do not have any type of indicator whatsoever that lets you know if they're running low. So I would always recommend, after a certain amount of ass whooping, to check your pads. Now check this out. This is garbage. This is this is embarrassing. Dude, what are you doing with your car? Anyways, so we'll go ahead and remove the rear. That one seems to have a little bit of meat, but who gives a shit? Now, here's a trick. Here's a trick. Now, the thing is, what we searched non-stop on the forums is that they continuously said that there's a stupid Allen key behind the caliper that will allow you to retract the piston of the brake caliper. On these cars, that doesn't fucking exist. What you actually have to do is you get yourself a set of needle nose pliers or pliers that will actually fit within this range, and you will rotate this piston clockwise in order to push the piston back in. Once you have the piston down far enough, I usually like to keep it flush, you'll be able to install the new pads and you'll be good to go. Now, something I forgot to mention is when you're usually dealing with these hydraulic systems, a lot of back pressure tends to build up. What you'd want to do is go ahead and open the cap of the master cylinder up front in order to help you alleviate that pressure and actually be able to push that piston. So now that we've went ahead and rotated this piston clockwise, we went ahead and installed the pads, and we're going to go ahead and install the caliper. Now, the reason why you want to rotate the caliper, the piston in, is so the caliper could actually sit on the actual pads themselves, and you'll be able to install the hardware back, and you're basically done with your brake job. Now, it's important to go ahead and lubricate your pads, the piston, basically anything that has any contact with the brakes themselves. Basically, it'll help you reduce any road noise, braking noise, any squeaking or squealing on the brakes behalf will be taken care of when you add the brake lubricant. But on this case, we already went ahead and lubricated our pads. So we're going to go ahead and install the top 12mm bolt. Go ahead and start screwing it in. Once that is settled in, I usually won't torque this in because I want to go ahead and get the emergency brake line. Reason being is that I want to have a little bit of play. Now we'll go ahead and attach the emergency brake line once again. In order to do the emergency brake line, we're going to go ahead and reattach the cable onto the arm down here. Now you want to have the hat of the cable behind this bracket. So you'll go ahead and push this back. Actually, go ahead and hook this on first. That'll make your life easier. And then move the hat behind the bracket. Now it should snap right in. And we'll go ahead and press the clip back into place. Once your clip is back into place, as such, we'll go ahead and get our 12mm ratcheting wrench and finish this job. Now, it is important that before you go anywhere, and this is really important, before you go anywhere, go ahead and start your car, have it idle for a little bit, and pump the brakes a few times. This is going to go ahead and fill the gaps of, since we rotated that piston in, it's going to have a little bit of a spacing between. You pump your brakes in order to remove it. Now, some of these cars, for some reason online, it says that you have to adjust the e-brake, but seeing that the e-brake is a mechanical assembly, we won't need any adjustments. But just go ahead and finish up this 12mm. You'll really want to get this as tight to torque spec and hook it in